Have you ever felt like you reached the pinnacle of your career and then realized that you had hit rock bottom instead? For me, that happened at 27. And I was a marketing consultant working with Fortune 500s, orchestrating huge events just like this one. I worked directly with the CEOs of big brands, hired speakers like Richard Branson, until the recession hit. And everything just fell away. All these big budget events were canceled, and my job became totally obsolete. So I started thinking creatively about what I could do differently, because I know I don't have to tell anyone in this room that there just were no jobs in marketing in 2009. And one of my friends called, and he said he was moving in with his girlfriend. And I realized I helped him meet her on Match.com. And he wasn't the only one. I had helped so many of my friends meet people online, because I was an early adopter in 2001 when I was 19. And I realized that I had been marketing my friends, and it was converting. They fell in love, they were moving in together, one couple was getting engaged. So I came up with this crazy idea that I could help people date online by marketing their single selves. And I started my company eFlirt 2 days later with $50 in a Twitter account. I thought I would start by writing people's profiles because it seemed the most tangible and the most like marketing. I could put together the message that we wanted to send to a very specific audience, the type of person they wanted to meet, help them convert and get offline with their dates. But what happened is I wasn't just helping people write their profiles. I needed to manage their emotions too. Because even though online dating is tech, so much of our heartstrings are wrapped up in the cords of the computers. 6 years later, there's been a lot that has changed in my business. We have helped thousands of people one-on-one. We have 50 marriages and engagements. I have a whole staff of people in different disciplines, and together we act as the CEO of your heart. Not just by writing profiles anymore, but by searching for you, messaging for you, strategizing, and then coaching you through all the emotions that you're inevitably going to go through on the way to finding a real relationship. Because hopefully it's not just a collection of dates, but something's actually going somewhere. But even though we're the CEO of your heart, I'm also a CEO too, managing my own staff. And what I've learned is that emotions are tied to all the decisions we make, even in our professional lives. You know, at the office, we're told not to put our heart on our sleeve. But the truth is that we're human, and we have feelings. So emotions are tied to every action we take, every decision that we make, no matter how minor. So today, I want to teach you the 5 biggest lessons that I've learned about emotional management and how you can apply it to your everyday. First, focus on how someone feels, not what they say. The way someone says something, the words that they use, their body language, their tone of voice, that's what I pay attention to when I'm working with a client or my staff. Because the truth is that sometimes it's not actually the words they're saying that are what is the meaning that they mean. And this can translate digitally into email too. We use what we call email body language. That's what we read when we're reading our clients' messages or the messages from their matches. And we pay attention to things like how fast or slow did they respond? What's their punctuation like? What about word choice? So the next time you get an email from a big client or your boss, take a step back and ask yourself, what are they really saying here? Because it's probably not the words that they typed on the screen. Next, questions are more powerful than advice. There's a big difference between giving advice and discerning. And the way that I lead is I like to help people discern for themselves. figure it out for themselves. What is the real right answer? Because I don't have all the answers. You don't either, probably. So, for example, the best story I think I can tell you about this is my client who's in San Diego. She was dating 2 guys, and the relationships were moving forward. She was having so much fun, but she had no idea who she wanted to be in a real relationship with. She was just so confused. And that's not uncommon because sometimes we get caught up in the fun of it all. And so I asked her to go out with each of them one more time and to ask herself, how does he make you feel? And immediately, she knew exactly who her heart was invested in. And it's the simplest question. How does he make you feel? Of course, she should be asking herself that, right? But the truth is that sometimes we just don't. We just don't ask ourselves those important questions. So the next time you're trying to make a big decision, think about the simple things. Whether it's someone you're leading or when you're trying to lead yourself, ask the right questions so that you can get to the heart of the matter. Next, everything has a backstory. What has led us all to this moment right now, right here, it's all different experiences. There's a backstory to everything. But no one else knows the backstory unless we tell them. And sometimes you have to ask about it. This same client, when she decided to get into a relationship with this one guy, everything was going great. And then she realized that there was something a little off. And they started talking about their past. And he revealed to her that he had been married 6 times before. And she freaked out. She just wanted to run. She was so overwhelmed by this information. And I had her calm down and slow down her intuition, her instinct. And I had her get the backstory here. What's really going on? Why was he married 6 times before is the big question, right? And when she found out the backstory, turns out that his religion, it wouldn't allow him to have sex before marriage. So he thought in order to have sex, he needed to get married. So he got married 6 times. And, it wasn't an easy conversation for them to have. It was something that happened over time, but he explained to her that this wasn't something that he believed anymore. He really thought that the next person he marries, he wants to be his lifelong partner. He doesn't think he needs to get married to have sex any longer. So she got over it, and they're still together 2 years later and in love. Had she ran, it would have been a different outcome. Had she not found out that backstory, things would have been different. So sometimes in order to understand someone's perspective, where they're coming from, their point of view, if they freak out or you freak out because of something, find out what the backstory is there. Next, your gut isn't always right. Now, I know a lot of people believe to trust your gut. Maybe you're one of them. But the truth is that what I find is that most of my clients end up with people who their gut wouldn't have said yes to. When we search for our clients, we send over a match of someone who's engaged in communication, and we ask the client to say yay, nay, or maybe. More than 50% of our clients are in relationships after working with us, and almost all of them are in relationships with maybes. They are people that if they were online dating for themselves and looking at that search screen, they wouldn't have messaged them. They write back to me things like, I don't know, are you really sure? But that's who they fall in love with. Because sometimes you just don't know the answer. You don't know if someone's a yes or a no. There is this maybe, there's this gray zone, and it's worth exploring. Even if you were to put your perfect person together on paper and pop them out into life like your your gingerbread person pops out of the oven, it might not be exactly who you thought. It might not work in reality, because sometimes the things that work for us in relationships are things that we wouldn't expect. And that can be true of a business deal or a client situation. Sometimes you just have to go forward and explore that gray zone a little bit before you make a decision. But lastly, your heart isn't always wrong. One of my clients who lives in Chicago, she was dating this guy. Things didn't work out, and then he came back, and he was trying to win her over so hard, and she said, no. She was adamant. I do not want to see him again. I gave him a shot. It is over. But the truth is that he really worked for her heart. He didn't just say different things. He acted differently. He really took all the feedback, everything that she had told him she needed differently in their relationship, and he had changed it. He was talking about the future and looking at homes for them together when previously he said he didn't even want to get married again. He really had changed, and he was trying to create a relationship that would make them both happy. And it would have been foolish of her to ignore what her heart was telling her, that she loved him. So sometimes you have to tune into your heart, not your gut, and listen to what it's telling you. It's not easy to do, that's for sure. Listening to our heart is very different than listening to our head, especially since we're all so digitally connected. Everything moves so fast. We're all so busy. We're always preoccupied. And the truth is that in order to listen to your heart, you need to slow down. You need to get quiet. Those decisions aren't made fast. It's not based on overthinking like we're used to. So next time you find yourself overthinking, think about what your heart's saying too. Slow down and consider that it's maybe more powerful when you think with both your heart and your head. Thanks.